Welcome, students and friends.
And my favorite families.
Thank you for joining At Home with APS. This month, April, is Poetry Month. I love poems and poetry, and today we're going to explore poetry, imagery, baking, rhyming, all kinds of fun stuff. So I'm going to read you our essential questions so that you can see what we have going on for today. Our essential question: how can our words literally and figuratively create pictures or real life creations?
Oh, okay. Stop, Miss Garcia. You're kidding, right?
No.
We're really doing poetry?
Yes, what's wrong with poetry? It's Poetry Month. I love poems.
Do you even know what poetry is?
Who doesn't? Rhyming, creating,
putting
your words down, making beautiful words come together. Oh, romantic.
Okay, I'm going to take something you just said.
What?
And show you and use it to explain why this is so inappropriate for our 4th and 5th graders out there.
What?
Rhyming.
Rhyming is fun?
Okay, I have a 6-year-old daughter who's in kindergarten, and she was reading a rhyming book. That's kindergarten stuff, Miss Garcia.
It is not kindergarten stuff, Mr. R. What makes you say that? Just because it was in a different grade level book?
Look, we have very intelligent 4th and 5th grade students out there watching right now. And they don't want to watch some rhyming Dr. Seuss nonsense.
How do you think rappers put their songs together? They have to rhyme. They listen to hip hop, don't they?
Like that's music. That's a whole nother level. We're talking about nonsense.
What about love letters?
Well, if our 4th and 5th graders are writing love letters, I think we need to have a different conversation.
Well, rhyming is so fun. So fun.
It is, but we're not kindergarten teachers, and when I think about our 4th and 5th graders out there, I'm thinking, man, they want complex text. They want to dive deep into rich academic language.
But not all poems have rhyme.
What?
Not all poems, poetry, they don't all have to rhyme.
Are you feeling okay, Miss Garcia?
No COVID here.
Miss Garcia, all poems rhyme.
No.
Every poem
not
I've read.
all poems rhyme. They don't all have to follow like the same pattern.
What you're saying doesn't make sense, Miss Garcia. I mean, that's like saying you can bake without an oven. That is insane.
Mr. R, where have you been living? You can bake without an oven. I make a no-bake cheesecake. And there are some fudge balls that you can make that don't require an oven or a microwave. There's cookies you can make that you don't need an oven or a microwave.
My gosh, this weather has gotten to you, Miss Garcia. Poems without rhymes, baking without an oven.
There's a lot you can bake without an oven. And there's plenty of writing we can do without rhyming. We just have to learn the right way to do it. There's neat ways, fun work out there for us to read and learn with.
I need to be clear of something. You don't think putting cereal into a bowl and pouring milk in there is baking, do you?
No.
You're crazy.
There is a cheesecake that is delicious and you don't have to bake it.
Look, we're here for our 4th and 5th grade students. We don't want to spend our time talking about rhymes and no-bake nonsense. This is crazy.
Okay.
Poetry is boring. Let's get into some...
Okay, how about this? Okay. Let's go over some vocabulary words that we could use when we're rhyming, putting some poems together, making sentences, when we are looking at words literally and figuratively. We need some vocabulary words to help us get there. Let's go over some vocabulary words.
If you want to waste my time and you want to waste their time...
with Miss Garcia is never a waste of time. We're just kidding. So let's do some vocabulary words. Open up your mind. Open it.
Okay.
Work with me.
Growth mindset.
Growth mindset.
We studied that
grow.
a couple weeks ago.
Let's grow. Go over the vocabulary words and we'll go from there. And
okay. I'm open to it.
Perfect.
Tell me what you got, Miss Garcia.
Perfect.
What are some vocabulary words that go with poetry?
Okay, so remember, students, friends out there, when we are writing or taking notes, make your notes meaningful to you. We could have our 2-column notes, meaning you can fold your paper in half. You can draw your line down the middle. Make sure you have a title. So when you use this resource later, when you're writing a poem, you know what resource tool to use, right? So on one side, make sure you title it vocabulary. The other side, meaning. Mr. R and I will go over the vocabulary words and the meaning. You make the meaning meaningful to you. What that means is when the words make sense to you in your own writing and you go back to look at it, you want it to be clear and it to make sense to you, not just my words. We good?
Yeah.
Thumbs up if you understand. Great. So our first word is a noun. What do we think a noun is?
Okay.
This is a tough one because I get confused with, just people, right? But a noun.
Oh, I know. That's right. It is. A noun is a word that describes just people.
Well, a noun is a person, place, or thing.
What?
I used to think it was just people, but it's a person, place, or thing.
So I'm a noun.
Yes, you are.
That chair's a noun.
It's a thing.
Our 4th, 5th grade students?
Those are nouns.
Really?
Yeah.
Ah.
Crazy world we live in, huh?
I'm learning something.
I know.
Yeah, what is that? Okay, what does that mean in poetry?
Well, when we use a noun, it's when we're talking about maybe a person, maybe the title of your poem, or maybe what you're talking about has to do with the noun.
Oh, so...
You can kind of make it the whole poem about that noun.
So that imaginary no-bake cheesecake that's a noun, right?
My no-bake cheesecake.
Imaginary.
Let me get over my no-bake cheesecake.
Imaginary.
Yes, it's real. Okay, our next word, adjective.
Oh, yes, I know him. He cuts my hair, except right now.
Adjective?
That's not the name of a person?
No.
Okay.
And why would an adjective cut your hair?
I thought it was the name of my barber.
No.
Okay.
An adjective is a word or phrase to modify or describe the noun. We use an adjective to describe the noun. So how would you describe your barber?
Okay, so my barber, who is the noun, is described by the adjective, and he could be the butchery barber. Right?
If your barber is a butcher, if you want to describe him that way.
Well, it's funny you mentioned that because after he's done cutting the meat in his butcher shop, he uses the same knife to cut my hair.
No.
No.
You don't want that barber anymore. I will pay for you to get a new barber. Our friend Victor has a great barber.
Ooh, Victor. I'm going to have to get with him. All right, new barber.
New barber. Okay.
All right, butchery barber.
Our next word is a verb.
Yes.
Verb is a fun word. Say it 3 times.
Well, then I'll have to say excuse me after each time. So verb, excuse me, verb, excuse me, verb, excuse me.
Verb, 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 verb. It's just fun to say.
Yeah,
what do you think a verb is?
Well, it's what I just did. It's where the gas in your chest that builds up and then you verb out.
No, you're not burping. That's not a verb. A verb is a word that we use to describe an action. You were burping. An action, state, or occurrence. So like go, travel, walk.
Oh, I got them confused. I thought verb was what describes that, but burping is a verb.
It's the action you're doing.
Oh, so running and burping and
so in a
barbering.
Sense barbering. No, cutting.
Cutting. All right.
Okay, our next vocabulary word is phrase. This is important, especially when we are thinking about poems and poetry. Think of what do you think a phrase might mean?
Phrase. Show on television?
Is that your phrase? A show on television?
Oh, it's like a group of words.
Aha.
Oh. Boy, I'm not doing so well today.
That's okay. A phrase, a group of words in a sentence that act like a single word working together to make a meaning.
Oh, like a team of words.
A team.
Yeah, and they're all working together to build a meaningful house of words.
I love that. A house of words.
Oh, I'm getting that. I know what I'm doing. All right.
How do you feel about this poetry now?
Oh, that's complete nonsense, but I'm understanding these words.
Okay. Our next word is, and I love this word, synonym.
Oh, yes, I put that on my pancakes and my waffles and in my coffee. Oh, That's not how you spell synonym.
That is not cinnamon that you put on food or those like candies that you eat.
Oh.
Say it with me. Synonym.
Synonym?
Say it with me. Synonym.
Synonym.
Perfect. So a synonym, those are words with the same meaning or almost the same meaning. Words with the same meaning or almost the same meaning.
Okay.
A synonym. So let's think of a word. So if I say Brianna, what could be a synonym for Brianna? So remember, it's a word with the same meaning or almost the same meaning.
Well, that's a name of a person, isn't it?
Yeah.
So I got to think of somebody with a similar name.
Well, you can think, what is Brianna to me?
Oh.
What has the same meaning? She's my...
I see where you're going there. She's your daughter.
There you go.
Okay. So I was thinking like, I got one. Okay.
Perfect.
Poetry.
Poetry.
Terrible. Awful.
Ha.
Yeah.
That's a better example. I just have Brianna on my mind.
And you agree with me that they're terrible and awful.
They're examples? Or
poetry being...
No.
Oh.
It is not awful.
But those are synonyms.
They are.
Okay. And poetry.
How about if I say happy?
Glad.
There you go. Poems are fun. What's a synonym?
Fantastic.
You're on the right track.
That one hurt to say.
The next one, it's a two-part vocabulary because these are our two words that are in our essential question. Literally and figuratively. Literal, figurative.
Okay.
Literally, figuratively.
That's a lot to digest right there.
I know. Do you want me to help you with that?
Well, let me give it a try. So literal sounds like I am littering.
Oh.
So I am throwing trash on the ground, literally throwing trash on the ground. And figuratively sounds like a figure, so maybe it has to do with dancing, right? Dancing. I get it. This is a poetry is just like throwing trash on the ground and dancing. I'm a genius.
You are a genius. You are a genius. So, literally, which is in our essential question, means it's a fact.
Okay.
Exactly. Or really. Like, it's literally a fact. Like, you literally do not like poems. You literally do not like poetry.
Okay, I was confused there. This isn't throwing trash on the ground.
No, don't throw your trash.
This is me. Like, I am picking up a book. I literally
picked up the book, yes.
Or, gosh, I'm literally scratching my head. It's the things that are actually going on, right?
It's actual, factual. It's real. It's really real.
Okay. Now, could you read the figuratively?
Sure.
Okay.
Figuratively. The opposite, you compare a real situation with a made-up, usually exaggerated. Oof, even exaggerated is a big word that we need to discuss.
Oh, I did that just a minute ago, Miss Garcia.
How?
Well, you asked me to come up with a synonym for fun, and I think I said fantastic. But we were talking about poetry, and I was like pretending like it was making me gag. So I was just saying that word was making me gag. That's figurative, right? Because I wasn't really gagging.
You're on the right track. I was just checking to make sure you weren't gagging.
Oh.
So, like Mr. R said, poems and poetry...
Make us gag.
No, not me. Make him gag,
Oh,
right? But that's just figuratively speaking because as you see here, is he really gagging?
I'm not on the floor.
No.
But I will be if we keep talking about poetry.
Mr. R, I wish you would just love poetry as much as I do. So listen.
Miss Garcia, I did in kindergarten when we read, those rhyming books, the kitties and the hats.
Okay, time out.
Okay.
Okay, let's bring it back in.
All right.
What do we do after we get all our vocabulary words out and we discuss the meaning? We reference it and refer it back to
our essential question.
Yes. So how do our vocabulary words connect to our essential question, which is?
How can our words literally, and figuratively, that's another one, create pictures or real life creations?
Well, using all of our vocabulary words that we just discussed, I will share with you my meaning, but you're more than welcome to get all of your ideas and put them together to make your own meaning, to answer your own question. So all I said was, using what we learned, we now know that it is important to show how words relate to each other. When we assign parts or roles, we can get meaningful sentences, words, rhymes, and poems.
Yeah, you have meaningful and poems in the same sentence?
Still nothing?
Okay,
Okay.
I get it. When I look at our essential question, I can see how literally, like if we were writing out step-by-step directions, that is literal. That makes sense. I could see how we could create things like pictures or real-life creations. But here you're talking about poetry and figurative language.
With no rhyme, you think that's impossible?
With no rhyme. No, I think you're crazy.
Oh, I'm not that crazy. Well, okay, there's this wonderful book. It is called Love That Dog.
Oh,
it's a novel. It's great. But there's one short little poem in there that I'd like to read, maybe one or two. Okay, just real quick. So let me just...
Wait, did you say poem?
Yes.
Oh, gosh.
But listen,
Go ahead.
Just listen to my poem. If I still can't get you on the right track to learn about poetry and poems with me, then I'll have to come up with something else.
Okay, and you know what, I'm being rude.
You're not being rude. You're expressing your feelings, your ideas. You're not being mean to me. You're just letting me know how you feel, and that's okay.
Okay.
So maybe I'm not...
Growth mindset.
There you go. I love it. Love it, love it, love it. So this one is called Stopping by Woods on a Snowy Evening by Robert Frost. I like that. Snowy and his name is Frost. Kind of cool. Okay. Whose woods these are, I think I know. His house is in the village, though. He will not see me stopping here to watch his woods fill up with snow. My little horse must think it queer to stop without a farmhouse near. Between the woods and frozen lake, the darkest evening of the year. He gives his harness bells a shake to ask if there is some mistake. The only other sounds the sweep of easy wind and downing flake. The woods are lovely, dark and deep, but I have promises to keep, and miles to go before I sleep, and miles to go before I sleep. What'd you think of that one?
Are you serious?
You like it?
It was a rhyming poem. It doesn't even make sense. Was he watching somebody's house in the woods? Creepy.
It was rhyming, but I needed you to think about how other ways to put a poem together. Okay, one more. One more.
Gosh.
The Red Wheelbarrow by William Carlos Williams. No rhyming.
Oh?
Maybe. Let's see.
It's not a poem.
So much depends upon a red wheelbarrow, glazed with rain, water, besides the white chickens. What do you think of that?
I think somebody just wrote down some notes.
But these are somebody's ideas. Okay.
An idea. A wheelbarrow's an idea.
I tried. I really did. So, you know what? I'm really, really trying, and I think I need some backup. I need a sidekick. I need a backup. I need a helper.
What?
There's this person, gorgeous, smart, brilliant. You know who I'm talking about, who that is?
I do.
Who is it?
Miss Martindale.
Hello, friends out there. I hope you haven't forgotten about me. My name is Miss Martindale, and I'm sitting here with my dear friend, Mr. R. And I need some coffee after that last segment with Miss Garcia.
Well, thank you for joining me here for Coffee Talk, Miss Martindale. And boy, do I really just want the coffee too.
Yeah, that was a tough segment. How are you feeling, Mr. R?
Well, if I knew we were going to be spending all this time talking about nonsense, I would have brought more coffee.
Okay. Hey, Mr. R, I bet you didn't realize I was listening to your conversation, and you were about to write some really cool poems.
No, I wasn't, Miss Martindale.
Yes, you were. I heard a great funny poem about a burp.
No. You see, I got verb and burp mixed up, so that wasn't a poem.
That made me laugh so much that I could visualize this burp coming out of you, and it's a verb. So instead of saying burp, verb, I imagined, I could see it coming out of this word cloud. And that brings me to this other phrase that you made, house of words.
Well, yeah, but do you see the house of words, Miss Martindale, was me just talking about how these words get together and work as a team and to become a phrase, to create meaning.
So I'm interrupting Mr. R because my mind is going, because you just use figurative language in a house of words.
I think you're right.
I am right.
Well, yeah, but it was a complete accident.
And that is the best way things happened, by accident sometimes.
Well, Miss Martindale, I'm thinking about our essential question, and it's to make meaning, and that was accident. It wasn't meaning.
Erasers.
What?
Erasers help us with our accidents, Mr. R. Somebody invented that eraser. So through our accidents, we can form poems, all kinds of poems.
So are you saying poems aren't nonsense? They're accidents?
They're not. And then, Mr. R, I realize that sometimes that you may not get the full poem. We may not understand the full poem. I was listening to one of Miss Garcia's poems that she read.
Oh, which one? The wheelbarrow one?
The wheelbarrow one is pretty cool, Mr. R.
Or the one with the snowy house in the woods?
Stopping by woods on a snowy evening.
Yeah, that one sounded a little creepy to me.
You know what? I kind of agree with you.
Oh.
But there's a part in that poem that is my most favorite part.
Well, why don't you share it with me, Miss Martindale?
I think I will. It is the last verse of the poem and is called, or it says, "The woods are lovely, dark and deep, but I have promises to keep and miles to go before I sleep."
I don't get it. What is he, sleeping in the woods and driving at the same time?
But how does that bring meaning to me, Mr. R?
Oh, yeah.
Think about what I like to do. You know me.
Well, yeah, you do a lot of great things, Miss Martindale.
Yes, that's true.
One of your favorite things to do is run.
I love running. I do love running. I run as much as I can, but sometimes I can't get outside to run because I have promises to keep.
Well, how does that relate to the poem? Wait. Read the poem again to me.
The woods are lovely, dark, and deep, but I have promises to keep and miles to go before I sleep.
Oh, so this person in the snowy woods has got things to do, but wants to appreciate the beauty of the woods.
Correct.
And the snow.
So that's your take on that. My take is I'm getting a whole different meaning out of it, and I'm making it personal. Kind of like how Miss Garcia told us to make the meaning of our vocabulary words personal to us.
Well, my mind hurts right now, Miss Martindale.
That's okay. Can I read you a little story real quick?
Yeah. As long as it's a story and not a bunch of poems.
Well, I think we're in a little bit of trouble, but I think you're going to enjoy this story. It is called, and I'm not going to read all of it. Only going to read part of it. And it's about a little boy named Jack and his teacher. And it's called Love That Dog. And it's by Sharon Creech. This is one of my most favorite books. And two dear friends of mine, Amy Renfield and John Riley, bought my whole class a set of these books.
Wow, that must mean it's a very important book.
It's a very important book.
Well, if it is full of poems and it is important, I'll at least give it a shot to listen.
Okay. So Jack is writing a journal back and forth to his teacher.
Oh.
So you're going to hear me read a bunch of dates. Just stick with me, okay?
Okay.
Jack, room 105, Miss Stretchberry, September 13th. I don't want to because boys don't write poetry. Girls do. September 21st. I tried. Can't do it. Brain's empty. September 27th. I don't understand the poem about the red wheelbarrow and the white chickens and why so much depends upon them. If that is a poem about the red wheelbarrow and the white chickens, and then any words can be a poem, you've just got to make short lines.
Wait, that's what I said. I said that was that guy's notes. He just wrote them down.
He did.
That's not a poem.
It is a poem.
Then I take a poem to the grocery store when I go shopping.
You could take a poem to the grocery store when you go shopping.
No, I don't. It's a grocery list.
So you could make lists into poems. Trust me, Mr. R. Trust me.
Oh my gosh, you are going insane like Miss Garcia.
Okay. How about you listen to a few more of his entries and see what you think?
I'm going to lose it, but all right.
October 4th. Do you promise not to read it out loud? Do you promise not to put it on the board? Okay, here it is. But I don't like it. So much depends upon a blue car splattered with mud speeding down the road. What do you notice about that poem?
Well, it kind of sounds like the red wheelbarrow, but if a blue car is speeding down the road, it probably has a reason to, and if it sounds like everything depends upon it, it must be a super important reason. Maybe somebody's having a baby and they're going to the hospital. Maybe they're running from the cops.
Maybe.
Oh my.
Do you see how this poem is making you think?
You made me think, Miss Martindale. You asked a question.
Okay. So, but you're thinking about something totally different than me. I listened to Splattered with Mud. I thought they were just four-wheeling up in the mountains coming home because they're hungry.
Yeah.
Do you see how your image is different than my image?
Yeah.
And that's okay.
Huh.
October 10th. What do you mean, why does so much depend upon a blue car? You didn't say before that I had to tell you why. This Jack reminds me a lot about you, Mr. R. The wheelbarrow guy didn't tell why.
Yeah, he has a good point.
Yes, he does. October 17th. What was up with the snowy wood poem you read today? Why doesn't the person just keep going if he's got so many miles to go before he sleeps? And why do I have to tell more about the blue car splattered with mud speeding down the road? I don't want to write about the blue car that had miles to go before it slept. So many miles to go in such a hurry.
Okay, you realize this guy makes a lot of sense. This Jack, he's right. It sounds like his teacher is crazy. And just like you and Miss Garcia, he is trying to be as literal as possible, and she's just throwing it back at him.
I want to read that last part again.
Okay.
I don't want to write about the blue car that had miles to go before it slept. So many miles to go in such a hurry.
Oh, he changed it.
He did change it.
I wonder why he changed it.
He added some of the poems that he knows. He added some of those lines to make his own poem, and I bet you he doesn't even realize he's done it.
Huh. I didn't even realize he did it.
Let's listen some more. October 24th. I am sorry to say, I do not really understand the Tiger, Tiger, Burning Bright poem, but at least it sounded good in my ears. Here is the blue car with tiger sounds. Blue car, shining bright in the darkness of the night. Who could see you speeding by like a comet in the sky? I could see you in the night, blue car, shining bright. I could see you speeding by like a comet in the sky. Some of the tiger sounds are still in my ears like drums, beat, beat, beating.
Wow. You know, after hearing that, it really sounds like there's this emphasis on the blue car. And it's so important, whatever it is, and it's in the middle of the night, and it must be some sort of emergency. Like the comet is just blasting by.
Do you see how he's using imagery to get you to think?
I see, stop it.
Okay, sorry.
He was rhyming. This is for kindergartners. Yeah, blue car, kindergarten. Yeah, no,
October 31st. Yes, you can put the 2 blue car poems on the board, but only if you don't put my name on them. November 6th. They look nice typed up like that on blue paper on a yellow board, but still don't tell anyone who wrote them, okay? And what does anonymous mean? Is it good? November 9th. I don't have any pets, so I can't write about one, and especially I can't write a poem about one. November 15th. I see you thinking, yes,
what?
I used to have a pet. I don't want to write about it. You're going to ask me, why not, right?
What's going on here?
So Mr. R, he's getting you to think.
Yeah. Okay, keep going.
November 12th. Pretend I still have a pet. Can't I make up a pet, a different one? Like a tiger or a hamster, a goldfish, turtle, snail, worm, flea. What did you notice about that poem?
That was a poem?
That was a poem.
That sounded like a list.
It sounded like a list. I'm going to go on.
I was talking about different lists earlier.
November 29th. I liked those small poems we read today. When they're small like that, you can read a whole bunch in a short time, and then in your head are all the pictures of all the small things. From all the small poems, I liked how the kitten leapt in the cat poem and how you could see the long head of the horse in the horse poem.
I was seeing the animals in his list poem.
Exactly.
Wow.
Exactly. So then you could do that too. I'm going to skip a little bit and I'm going to go on.
Okay.
And I'm going to read a really important part.
Please do.
So I'm going to skip to January 24th. We were going for a drive, and my father said, we won't be gone long. You come too. And so I went, and we drove until we stopped at a red brick building with a sign in blue letters, Animal Protection Shelter. And inside we walked down a long cement path, past cages with all kinds of dogs, big and small, fat and skinny. And that's where we saw the yellow dog standing against the cage with his paws curled around the wire and his long red tongue hanging out and his big black eyes looking a little sad and his long tail wagging as if he were saying, me, choose me.
Did he get a dog?
He got a dog.
And it's a red brick building, kind of like the red wheelbarrow and then the blue. What was blue? The blue car.
The blue car.
What was blue in there?
I wonder what the blue car is going to have to do with this whole story, this whole journal.
Yeah, it's a car. It's not going to... What are you doing here?
I am messing with your mind, Mr. R. I am messing with your mind.
this conversation I had with Miss Garcia, which I was so rude on. But, and this, maybe there's something to poetry.
I hope so, Mr. R.
But I could tell you right now, there's still lots of rhyming. And our 4th and 5th graders out there, you know, they need, I don't know, Miss Martindale, I hope they're not messed up like me right now.
I don't think they are, Mr. R. I think you haven't had all of your coffee. And I think, have you had lunch?
No, I haven't had lunch. I'm very hungry.
You're very hungry, Mr. R.
I have to, Miss Garcia was talking about this crazy idea about baking an oven. And I was like, why are you doing that? I'm so hungry and you're making nonsense.
Well, Mr. R, be prepared to have your mind blown again. Are you ready?
Oh, no.
Because Miss Garcia and I are prepared to make no-bake fudge balls just for you.
Now, when you say no bake, you mean are there?
No oven. And they're delicious. Are you ready?
I can't go on. This is crazy.
All I want you to do is sit and watch. We're going to write some poems. And then we're going to make some fudge balls.
All right.
Welcome back. Miss Garcia, thanks for joining me up here.
Thanks for having me. How did it go with Mr. R?
I don't know. I really don't know if I helped or if I just made it worse.
I don't know. I know I was frustrating him. I forgot to remind him about how to breathe in and to breathe out. But I was listening to your coffee talk, and it sounded like he was maybe coming around.
I hope so. I hope so. I'm hoping that he was able to use imagery and imagine what was going on as Jack wrote. That was my purpose.
Yeah. See, the thing as to go along with that, though, is I'm kind of excited to freak him out a little bit more because he didn't believe me that you can bake without an oven.
Right.
And
right.
so I'd like to work on poems and baking without an oven just to show him how fun this all is.
So I found a really cool short format of a poem that I think might help him, and it might mean more if we write it about him. Do you want to help me?
Yes.
Okay. So this is called a cinquain.
Cinquain?
Oh, cinquain. Cinquain.
Potato.
Potato. Tomato. Tomato.
Eh.
It's actually called cinquain, but I just learned that today.
Huh.
So I'm going to come on over here,
Okay.
and a cinquain follows a specific format. We have to have a noun, which I know you told me was a person, a place, or a thing. Mm-hmm. Has to have 2 adjectives, which describe that noun. 3 verbs that end with ing, jumping, running, and I think we just sang, so singing, something like that. A phrase, which is a small group of words, and a synonym. Not the synonym that we eat, but
like
a
Mr.
synonym.
R was saying, yeah.
Right. So I'm going to come up with the noun, and then you help me write the rest of it. Sound good?
Perfect. What was our noun again? Remind me.
Mr. R.
Mr.
Who could
R.
forget?
Yes.
Mr. R. There is my lovely noun. So
okay.
now what are some
2
adjectives?
Mr. R. He's kind.
Okay.
Yeah, let's write kind.
Okay. Kind.
And he's really, really goofy.
Ooh.
Let's do
that
goofy.
is a great one. So I'm going to separate those 2 adjectives with a comma just because I like it. Goofy. Mr. R. Kind, goofy. Now we need
So
3.
a verb, but the verb has to have an ing.
Right.
Verb. He is always good at helping.
Ooh, helping. Let's write
He's a
that
great
one.
helper, so can we just say helping?
Yes, we can. Helping.
Mr. R tinkers at school,
Ooh.
like with our STEM lab, so we could say tinkering.
Good. Tinkering. And then I don't have room, so I'm going to write it right underneath it.
He's always fixing things, making things. So let's just say building.
Ooh, building. Good job. Building.
Now, phrase. A phrase, some sort of group of words that have meaning. And about Mr. R. Mr. R is the sunshine in our...
Darkness?
Darkness.
Sunshine in our darkness.
Can we say in our gloom instead? Sunshine in our gloom.
That sounds so much more poetic.
Yes.
I like it.
Mr. R is the sunshine in our gloom.
In our gloom.
Yes.
Very good. And then we need a synonym.
For Mr. R.
For Mr. R.
He's a person.
But that's boring. We don't want to just say
He's
person.
a dad. He's a husband. He's our friend.
Friend? Wait.
He's our sidekick.
I love it.
Yes.
Man,
Mr.
I
R is
love
our
how
sidekick.
You and me, Miss Garcia.
Yes.
Sidekick. Kind of reminds me of our superhero unit.
Yes, Mr. R is our sidekick.
There is our cinquain. Mr. R, kind, goofy, helping, tinkering, building, sunshine in our gloom, sidekick. Doesn't rhyme, does it?
I hope he's listening.
It doesn't rhyme, but this holds meaning to me. It tells me that he is a kind, goofy man, but he is the sunshine in any place that he visits.
He's good at helping, tinkering, and building, all around an amazing sidekick.
So I hopefully our friends out there can write their own cinquain now because it's pretty simple, right?
So you can practice this on your notes, on the back of your 2-column notes, any scratch paper. Make your own, make them silly, make them fun.
Make them
with it.
sad, happy, anything you want.
They don't have to rhyme.
That's the best part.
Yeah.
All right.
So
I'm sorry. Wait, I think my stomach is grumbling.
really is growling.
Oh,
though.
gosh,
I'm
I'm sorry.
really hungry.
Okay, let's blow his mind again by making no-bake fudge balls.
Okay, I'm never done.
Ready?
I'm ready.
Okay.
Will you tell me how to do it?
I will. I'm going to make a list. And guess what I did, too? What does this remind you of right here, almost? This was one of our lessons. I added a border.
A border with words that have meaning to the topic. Our one-pager.
Our one-pager. So this is a great way to write a recipe or the steps to a recipe. And I used transition words. I'm not very good with transition words, Miss Garcia, so I wrote them in my border to help remind me.
I love them. First, next, last, before, while, then second, after, finally third, once, and while.
And I think I used while twice,
That's
but
okay.
I liked it.
It looks perfect.
Okay, thanks.
Let's do this.
All right.
Help
Are you
me
ready? So
make-
I put down the ingredients and I measured them out for you. So I'm going to do step by step. So
Okay.
our first step is butter. So we need butter. So I'm going to say first, melt butter.
And how much butter do we need?
I'm going to ask you that.
Okay, so...
1 stick of unsalted butter.
All right, so right here we have a whole stick of melted butter.
Good. And then my second one, what could I use for my next transition word? I'm going to put a little bullet. I love
So
bullets.
first, next,
Next, I like that. Next, we're going to add the cocoa, which I think you have right there,
here's the cocoa.
vanilla, and milk.
Okay, so it says 4 tablespoons of cocoa. Mm-hmm. 1, 2, 3,
And 4.
and 4 of cocoa.
Uh-huh. And then 1 teaspoon of vanilla.
1 teaspoon of vanilla. Perfect.
And I believe the milk is already measured out. 1/2 cup of milk.
Vanilla is in there. And milk, 1/2 cup. That smells delicious.
Doesn't it?
Yes.
And so we're going to mix that up, Miss Garcia. And even though these are no-bake, the recipe does call to bring this to a boil. So friends, if you are putting this on the stove, make sure you have an adult with you. Never use the stove or the oven without adult supervision. But for time's sake, and since we don't have an oven or a stove, we're just going to mix it really well. And it's almost looking like chocolate milk.
Yes.
Chocolate milk, ooey gooey chocolate. I love it. While you're mixing that, I'm going to write the next step, which is, I'm going to say third.
Well, I like that transition word.
Thank you.
I was going to ask you, what were you going to write next?
Add peanut butter. I'm going to put PB for peanut butter. And oats.
Alrighty. So peanut butter, it calls for 1/2 cup of peanut butter.
1/2 cup of peanut butter. And if you can just, there you go. And we had measured that out, and that's about 1/2 cup right there.
Yep.
Yep. And then your oats.
Oh, sorry. How much oats?
We have 3 cups of oats. How much is that cup right there, Miss Garcia?
That was 2 cups.
Awesome.
And 1/3.
I've never had dry oats before.
3
I
cups.
wonder how they're going to taste.
Yummy.
I bet. My mouth is watering right now. And so let's mix those up.
Okay.
And then, almost ready, you're going to drop spoonfuls, which I probably should have put finally. I like that.
And did we add our sugar?
Oh, we may have forgotten. So I'm going to cross that out. And so go ahead and add the sugar in there.
Okay. And sugar is 2 cups. Wow.
Oh my gosh. That's crazy.
That's a lot of sugar. But it smells like goodness.
That's okay, as long as we don't eat too much of it. I'm glad I made that mistake. So, because then I can put finally.
Finally. And is it okay to make mistakes?
I hope so.
It sure is.
'Cause I make a lot of them.
I do too.
Finally, drop.
That's why we have erasers. That's why we have friends who work together. That's why we proofread. That's why we edit.
Yeah.
That's why we improve.
Oh, that's looking really good.
It looks really good.
I can even hear it crunch, crunch, crunching.
That sounds like a poem.
It does sound like a poem.
Okay, and what is next?
And
after
next,
we mix?
finally, we are going to drop by the spoonfuls onto a tray.
How many? Or just...
I just brought a scoop. Just scoop them up, just like ice cream. Look at that. Little fudge balls already made.
Smells delicious.
And if you want, you can make them smaller. What else could we add to these fudge balls if we needed to?
Chocolate syrup
Chocolate syrup
on top.
Oh, that's a lot.
Strawberries.
Ooh.
Yogurt.
Yes. You're doing so well. So this is making about 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm going to do some math. 4 times 2 is 8 already. So I'm guessing it's going to make about 16 or maybe 20 even.
It can make a whole bunch.
Do you think Mr. R is going to like these little cookies that we made, these fudge ball cookies?
Do you think he's going to believe us that we tell him that we did not use an oven?
I don't know. Maybe we could come back next time. We'll save some for him. We can come back next time, and he could tell us what he thinks about our no-bake fudge balls.
They look amazing, and they look yummy. No oven required.
I like it. I like it a lot. So, Ms. Garcia, going back to our poetry, do you think this helped him?
I think so.
Okay.
I hope so.
Okay. I hope he understands that poems don't have to rhyme, but of course, if you want them to rhyme, by all means, go out and make some rhymes. While I was coming over here to tape, today it was snowing outside. And all of a sudden, I could see just the white puffs fluttering, and I thought it would be perfect. What if we could go outside and film and just make up poetry about snow?
Oh, that would be amazing. I wish we could, because being outside with nature and in the fresh air, that would be beautiful poem making right there, without rhyming, with rhyming, making some cinquain poems, many other poems. Just, I wish we could have, but we couldn't. But we can make one up right now.
We could.
We could use our guide just to make one up off the top of our head.
Ooh, I like that.
Yeah.
I like that.
So we can follow the cinquain, that guide here that Miss Martindale put together. We could think of a noun.
Okay.
Think about like your drive here, the snow outside.
You know what? I heard you talking about your daughter.
Brianna.
Yes. Let's do one about Brianna.
Okay.
Let's do a partner poem.
Okay.
Okay.
Let's see.
We don't even need to write it down.
No, let's just say it out loud.
Brianna, that's our
So,
noun. 2
Brianna.
adjectives. I know she's brilliant.
She is. I
She's
love her,
very
yeah.
smart.
She's smart.
I like brilliant, though, because it reminds me of like a light bulb.
Yes. So Brianna, brilliant, and beautiful.
Beautiful.
Yes.
I like it. Okay, 3 ing verbs.
3 ing. She's always cooking.
Cooking.
Let's see. She's
Laughing.
Always laughing.
Okay.
Oh, and she's always drawing.
Drawing.
Yes.
Very good. You come up with a phrase since you know her best.
Well, I like how it says sunshine in our gloom, because she is the sunshine of my life.
Okay. Sunshine of my life.
Um,
I like that.
okay.
How about a synonym?
How about my daughter?
Daughter.
Or my best friend?
Best friend. I like that one.
Best friend. Yeah.
All right. So there, we just made a cinquain. Didn't even
Cinquain.
have to write it down. I think it would be fun for you guys out there to make one up with your parents, with your brother and sister, a family member.
Yeah. I was watching some of the other PBS specials, some of the other shows that some of the other teachers were doing, and some of them were coming up with squiggle journals,
Oh, yeah.
putting journals together with a lot of their work that they've been doing. So you can add to your squiggle journal, or you can make a new journal. I know that you were talking about how Jack had his journal and he was writing his notes, his grocery list, or all his other stuff, like what Mr. R was
Right.
talking about. So maybe you can, for fun, put some cinquain poems together, maybe think of some other things to bake with no ovens.
Right.
Do a one-pager when you come up with that.
So many things.
Yeah, and add to it.
Right. So next time we visit together, we're going to read some more about Jack, figure out what's going on with that blue car and the dog.
I have another no-bake.
Okay, and another no-bake maybe.
Yes.
All right, I'm ready. I can smell the cocoa. May I try it?
Yes, you may try it.
Okay.
I didn't touch it.
All right. So friends, oh my gosh, we will see you
Let's
next
see.
time.
Let's taste that.
Crunch, crunch. Oh my gosh. Oh, Mr. R. Oh, this is
He's
heaven.
going to love them. I sure hope he's listening.
Little bites
and
of
we can't wait to
heaven.
see you next time. Thank you for joining us today with At Home with APS.